That's why we do all this live. All of it live. All the time. Hello everyone and welcome to Star Trek Trek, our ongoing journey through the episodes of Star Trek. And this week we are continuing our draft pick. And this time it is to Stars and Garters, who you have picked the ultimate computer from TOS's second season. We have opted to watch the non-remastered version, and we did just have a quick flick across the remastered version to see all the other bits. So Stars, why did you pick the ultimate computer in your draft? Why is Otto very jealous that you did?
So it was a case of I did start doing my draft and I was like, okay, I need this, I need this, I need this. Like Wrath of Khan and First Contact were immediate picks because I'm just that basic bitch. But then I was like, okay, I kind of want to hit every series at least once if I can. I want to kind of represent the multiplicity of Trek as if I could. And I was thinking about it, I was like, okay, because with the draft pick, there's an element of what is everyone else going to pick? And I was like, someone might pick City on the Edge of Forever, and guess what? Dan did. Someone else might pick, Balance of Terror. I don't know if anyone did, but Shai did. Yes, there we go. And I was like, what is an episode that I remember being absolutely amazing, but no one really talks about as much? And I was like, The Ultimate Computer. And the more I thought about it, the more I kind of like luxuriated it in my brain. I was like, this kind of hits every single point I like about TOS. Like, it's relatively minimally problematic. It's an incredibly good, hard 60s sci-fi story. You've got a really strong minority actor who gets an amazing performance. You have something that pulls on your three strongest, like at your strongest triumvirate. You've got your Kirk, Spock, and McCoy moments, and there are so many good ones in here. You've got that starship poeticism. You've got that high 60s melodrama. You've got like it kind of hits every single point I want from TOS. I think if I had to pick only one episode, I would be hard pressed not to pick this one, and that's why I went for it on the draft. And so I'm not usually a big TOS guy. I'm way more of a TNG or DS9 guy. I even like a lot of New Trek more than TOS. But guess what? If I had to pick one, it's the ultimate episode of the Ultimate Computer.
Otto, now your cat has fully washed you and bathed you. I assume you're ready for the review.
I am fully engulfed in the corona. Yes. Sorry, wrong series.
I mean, I did have a question for you.
Throwing it to me? Or
I was just throwing it to you. Okay, let's say this was directed by one John Meredith Lucas, who also, not Meredith Bridges, I'm so sorry, Meredith Lucas, who also directed Obsession, which is a great episode, Alas of Troyes, and The Enterprise Incident, which is also a great episode. The story is an interesting one, because this was the teleplay itself, the adaptation of the story was done by DC Fontana. The story was done by a person called Lawrence N. Wolfe, who has not written for any other Star Trek, is actually a mathematician, or a maths teacher, who just on a whim, just decided he was going to write this story about computers. And then bearing in mind, this is the 1960s, computing technology was very early on, absolutely fascinated by computers and the implications on the working situation, emphasizing the M5 unit and the Daystrom, but unfortunately the original story barely featured any of the Enterprise crew, so it was very heavily rewritten by DC Fontana to put all those sort of, imagine a lot of these Kirk and Spock, the Spock and McCoy bickering, and Kirk sort of like lamenting on this thing. It was also a social commentary on American job losses in the 1960s. Obviously, this is a time when automation was taking over a lot of the industry sector, and I think John Meredith Lucas as being a bit of almost a prophetic take. Also, this is sort of like a take sort of that has been had by other authors at the time. Isaac Asimov being a very prominent one, with the various robots taking over humans' jobs, and how prophetic they would kind of be in this day and age when we are now struggling with bad AI of our own. Kind of, we all have a little M5 on our devices now that is just wrong at every turn.
Listen, why bother paying people to make a Coca-Cola ad when you can just have a lot of people punch prompts into it and make a Coca-Cola ad?
Yep. M5, draw me a cat with a shotgun on the doorstep,
Yeah.
I started noticing, well, it's because they told me, within the last week, I'm getting served ads, I think on Paramount Plus it says at the bottom, based on real whatever.
Yeah.
But it's AI. The actors are AI. And I might not have noticed it if I weren't paying attention, if they hadn't put that down there. Because it does have that weird smoothing, but it's just kind of, they look and they sound, and it's scary. And I know that's not exactly a tie to the episode, but yes, between the billions, trillions they're pouring into trying to replace jobs with AI, trust me, they ain't investing for your own good. And what's going on in the U.S. right now with hundreds of thousands of federal layoffs, it's like, yeah, this couldn't, evergreen. We love it. That's what sci-fi is supposed to be. It's evergreen. So the good stuff.
And it is, yeah. This is almost, if Star Trek had never existed and this was dropped into an episode of The Twilight Zone, would not feel.
In fact,
remiss.
they have an episode which we may review at some point, but you'll probably forget by the time we get to it if I spoil it now. There's a real asshole boss, and these old guys are losing their jobs, and he has no sympathy for him until the end when he's replaced by a robot doing the exact same voice and mannerisms that the old asshole boss used to do. And it's like, yeah, and that was a decade almost before this. So,
it kind of touches on like
that
Mud.
will be evergreen.
Was it iMud with the Stella clones at the end, just berating him in a sort of similar vibes to that. But yeah, it's a common theme, and I think it's kind of interpreted here, and also that like you say, it's a theme that resonates throughout time. This is something that threatens jobs and forces humanity to ascend. I'm interested to hear what you think about the character of Richard Daystrom, because he's the one thing that doesn't translate as well, because he's very attached to his creation. I suppose you could probably equate him to maybe some of the AI tech bros that are out there and just like, no, it's going to revolutionize humanity. We can excuse everything it does.
Before we get to him, let me just throw in, because you were talking behind the scenes.
Oh yeah,
the producer decided to buy this script because he could do it for cheap.
Oh yes,
he wouldn't need any new planet side sets or anything. So this is basically Star Trek on a budget, and for as gripping as it is throughout, I feel like it deserves a little extra credit for the genesis of it being what was supposed to be just a cheap filler episode.
Bottled episodes is like some of the best episodes. When you've got, limits can bring out more creativity in some cases. That's why, people just say, some people will say that modern television, I'm not including Star Trek in that, can be a bit more creatively bankrupt, because they go, oh, we'll just put a cool effect shot in there instead of actually, expanding on the dialogue. But this sort of does the opposite. But yes,
Dick Daystrom.
Richard Daystrom, played by the amazing William Marshall, who is also, as I was just perusing his IMDb, famously known for being...
He's got to have done something.
He has done lots of other things, but the thing that just jumped out at me, he was Blackula, but he was acting all the way up until 1996. He died, unfortunately, in 2003. But he did some Avengers stuff. He did, sort of scrolling through, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He did some Alfred Hitchcock. He did a show here that's just called Vasectomy, A Delicate Matter. He was in 22 episodes of Pee-wee's Playhouse. That's something. But no, he was great. I actually really liked him as a character actor. He emoted. He was unique. He wasn't just like Doctor Character of the Week, and we mentioned this in the watch along, the same way that like Paul Stubbs in Evolution at the start of season 3 of TNG is a very similar character and very similarly kind of possessive acting. But yeah, what do you guys think of Dickie Daystrom?
Well, hold on, I got to cut in real quick. I know stars. Do you have notes? Are you looking at notes?
I'm not looking at notes now.
Oh, no,
I will up here.
He's raw dog.
I'm playing the baseball game up here.
Hand rub, when you do the hand rub, you're about to go off. So I wasn't sure if you had notes. I just,
strap it down.
Curiosity.
I'm playing out the baseball game here.
Just cleaning himself.
He's getting ready. So I want to take a prompt here from Buta, who says that Daystrom seems like Elon Musk.
No.
And I hate to call you out, Buta. You're completely wrong. Elon Musk is Henry Starling.
Yes.
The most unrealistic aspect of this episode, and also Evolution, is it predicted that tech bros would be so much more empathetic and human and soulful than they actually are. If you look at Paul Stubbs, if you look at Richard Daystrom, they actually care about their fellow man. Like, that's what Daystrom's essential characterization point comes down to. It's two aspects. One, which is like the more selfish, which is like the boy wonder. I need to recapture my earlier amazing feats. And then there is actually the second, very like laudable, very human aspect of I want to protect my fellow man. And there's a lot of aspects, especially when he's talking to them in engineering, of almost being I feel I get very heavily pacifist vibes off him. Like, he would rather that we not involve ourselves in wars with the Klingons and the Romulans, that we just keep to our own borders and keep ourselves safe, and not risk ourselves unnecessarily. Which I think is an interesting like thing to give to your scientist character in the 1960s, because we're in the Cold War and everything. And it's not overplayed. Like, maybe I'm reading into it in that aspect, but I definitely feel that there's an aspect of care for his fellow man, which like makes him a lot more sympathetic. And when we come around to our ratings, the actual falling down, I think, of this episode, and I say falling down as if I'm not going to give this like an amazing rating. I am going to give this an amazing rating. Is in the fact that 3.5. Is that I think it kind of fails Daystrom at the end. I think that if we were going to do a last 5 minutes, there would be a better way to tie this off.
We can do.
We can. I'm happy to do that because I have thoughts on how you could end this episode. But I think Marshall does an amazing job of like presenting a character who is very sort of, he's not quiet, but he's a bit more reserved. Like, he's keeping himself kind of very composed. He is a very tall black man. And I have to imagine that he, as an actual individual, he had to spend quite a bit of time making sure that he was not regarded as, given the time period, that he was not regarded as scary. And I think that elements of that come into his performance of Daystrom, where he is constantly composing himself. He doesn't break until way late in the episode. And he's just a really interesting, sympathetic character. Like, I'm going to throw the ball to you guys, but I really like Daystrom. Like, I think he's a very interesting character.
I think I do as well. Yeah, he from the moment, the first sentence, from the moment he comes out of his hiding spot in engineering when he's finished playing that game hide and seek with Sky,
stands up in the corner,
unfurls himself from the corner there like Lurch. From the moment then, like, he is a very what's the word? Very
imposing.
I wouldn't say imposing, because he never feels like he's trying to intimidate Kirk or Spock. It's more the opposite. He's trying to be a little bit more condescending, or he's trying to remember that he is, or trying to remember to them or remind them that he is superior. It's more that he's a very unique actor, and I like seeing someone that is different on the screen because they leave a more lasting impression. I would say. There have been many guest actors over Star Trek over the years, and quite a few of them have been sort of generic actor from whichever Paramount lot is local anyway, with a few standout exceptions.
Or they've been a shitty lawyer.
Or, yes. You take this Samuel T. Cogley hate out of here. No, I know you're talking about the Gorgon, but I was going to
exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Thank God we've done the Children Shall Lead. But no, he's great. I like his character.
We've got to do the remastered.
No, we got to do the original. Anyway,
okay.
No, he's great. I like his performance. I like his desperation to do the mental gymnastics to, not admit the truth that M5 is killing people and is broken, even from when the first Warship is broken. He gets that, like, oh no, he's in denial. Because this is him, essentially. This is a part of himself put out there, so it can't be wrong in that desperate. And it's not just this part of the character storyline. He shows it, and I like that he is fundamentally tied to his character's way that Daystrom is. I can't wait till they recast him with someone worse, Richard Maddox. Auto.
Oh yeah. All right, let me try to pull this together. Yeah, so he is, it's not that he's trying, he is an imposing figure. He's 6'5", William Marshall is. And yes, he's black, and that's worth mentioning because if you're familiar with TOS, Roddenberry was good at not seeing color. I mean, but it's also important to see color because representation is important.
Especially at that time. This
guy is, even though he cracks, he's It's so weird to say because I'm a fucking a white guy that grew up, middle class. He's inspiring to me to see that kind of representation. He's huge, he's brilliant, he's thoughtful, and he's compassionate. And what else do we want in our heroes, but the physical acting is good. Like you say, he stands up from the crouch, but he's very reserved up until toward the end when he starts to crack. And he actually he almost takes it on the chin a few times. M5 destroys this robot ship, and he stays even keel, even as he's being grabbed on the bridge by Kirk and saying, "There could have been people on there. You killed people." And Bones is giving it to him too, and he stays even keeled until when he starts to crack is when you see, oh, look how much of him is in there. When he says "we," when he talks about M5 making mistakes, we made the mistakes. It's not the computer that made the mistakes. And then he starts to really emote a lot more. But also compare him to Commodore Wesley, who's a pretty strapping guy, deep tan. He's got the look of, if not leading man, at least, a good accompanying piece. And he was way less
memorable.
He doesn't grab you like William Marshall does. And it's not just the height difference, but so he's magnetic. If I had to put one word to this, every time he's on screen, you're watching what he's doing. And yeah, that introduction is great because he towers over our three heroes in the engineering room. So.
They have to really change the camera shots as well. You can tell because there's a lot more low shots looking up. Because on a conventional frame, even because he tends to stand on the upper deck of the Enterprise bridge as well, so he's up there. So they're having to get very creative with the camera shots, and especially right at the end when he's pleading with M5, he's pretty much draped himself over the console.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Like he's literally like that. Like there's a really interesting physicality to his performance that you kind of don't see a lot in this era. I don't think, not in that way anyway. Yeah, no, he's a great figure. Like I can, and it's interesting that like you mentioned, they named an institute after this guy. He did have amazing achievements. Like they list off exactly how much he's responsible for. And I don't think the Z Magnus prizes, yes. And I don't think he comes off unsympathetically here. Like he doesn't start trying to endlessly self-justify, that we've killed people. He's like, well, he has like a moment where he's like, it's self-defense. It's not murder. But then he very quickly pulls back on that. And he starts trying to rationalize with M5, like we are killing. That was one of the lines that really stuck in my brain from the original watch through when I did this. It's like, we are killing. And I love his delivery on that line. It's so like vulnerable and fragile, and you can really feel like he's talking to a mirror of himself. And Idol, I don't know if you'll probably get this reference a lot better than I would. It reminded me a lot of Ultron, like the original comics version of Ultron.
Yeah.
Where he has Hank Pym's like Ant-Man's like memory engrams, and that the fact that Ultron goes like completely psychotic and tries to kill the world, you have to look at Hank Pym and go, how much of that is in you?
I think it is comparable to, and sorry to go off the Star Trek tangent, but like Ultron in Age of Ultron and Tony Stark is the equivalent thing. He talks like him, he acts like him, he has the hubris. there is that part of the maker and the machine. And
yes,
Star Trek.
In my long rant, what I forgot to touch on is what you said, Idle, that he has this condescension, but it's not intentional. He is a fucking genius, and he's dealing with essentially Luddites in Kirk. I mean, Kirk's a great captain, but his expertise is not technological, and so he does his best to not be rude. He's trying to be accommodating, like you said. He doesn't want to be scary. He doesn't want people to automatically dismiss him as some egomaniacal guy. So even though he does kind of crack at the end under the weight of his genius, which understandable, they give us enough to understand why he is that way. He does start as part of his very consistent. I love a consistent arc because it makes everything else that happen have some weight to it. It impacts that character. So yeah, he starts out kind of condescending, but not on purpose. He's trying to simplify what he thinks. He's on the edge of the greatest creation of his life, and he desperately wants it to be accepted.
Yeah, and it's like I think it's really, really interesting watching, especially the earlier, like maybe my first third of the episode, in the interplay between him and Kirk, where they are desperately at odds, and they keep on like kind of sniping at each other, and like it takes a little while for them to kind of build up to a fever pitch where they will start just taking chunks out of each other. Oh, you do you think that you'll miss the prestige and honor of being a starship commander? And it's like they are being very careful to be as diplomatic as they can, even though under the surface there is an instinctive reaction of you're trying to take my fucking job and you're standing in the way of progress. Like there's a wonderful conflict there, even, and it's like it also plays out in the way that he is way more deferential and respectful in a way of Spock. Um, but also kind of seems to fear Spock because he understands that Spock has the requisite technical knowledge to know what he's done is a bad idea, which is an interesting dynamic to watch on screen.
Otto, do you remember that Strange New Worlds episode where Kirk storms off the bridge and has a bit of a sulk? He kind of does that in this episode, so there kind of is precedent for that after all. Maybe we should up the rating.
Oh, don't start. Don't start.
But actually, I found that really interesting. Yeah, go on. No, you go.
So I don't disagree that they're kind of sniping, but I also think Daystrom's just not familiar. High-functioning geniuses usually aren't quite as socially competent as someone of average intelligence. So I think there's some sniping, but I also think he's just being blunt.
Yeah.
He's not worried about necessarily hurting his feelings. He's just saying, this is the way for this is future. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. But also, I love that he does it because it pulls out from both Spock and McCoy just probably the most sympathetic they've ever been toward Kirk because they know how much eating him up. They both pull him to the side and be like, and they're like, "Well, buddy, don't worry, we're still loyal to you, even if the circuits are not." And that was just beautiful characterization. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love like little like bits in the script, like them observing, oh, he was a boy wonder, and like my colleagues laughing behind my back, and it's like I think that absolutely has a basis for that kind of social maladjust there, where like you can imagine him being like a teenager or very very young, and then he's probably thrust into all these rooms with older people who probably like resent him for his younger genius, and he has like this upstart, well, I know better than you, and then there's the slow decline of, well, when's the next breakthrough, Richard? When are you going to impress us again? And then it gets because, like, here's the thing.
I'm imagining his wife is Hyacinth Bouquet. Like, when are you going to build me another computer, Richard? What happened to Babylon's 1 through 4? Sorry, so M5 1 through 4.
Babylon's.
Sorry, it's Babylon 5.
Sorry, you know what he wants to review. And it's interesting because, like, you kind of imagine the intellectual communities and academia as this, like, hermetically sealed environment, and it fucking isn't. Like the amount of like petty backsniping assholish behavior that will go on in these circles will absolutely equal any other community. And it's like I like that playing into his characterization. I think it absolutely helps bring his character to come together in a very interesting way.
Yeah, and you kind of get I liked the Kirk reflective part of this episode, which is it's a smaller part of it than I actually thought it was going to be. I think because like there's, and I'll come on to this a bit later because there's quite a lot of dialogue in this episode. But you know, he's
how many words, Idle? How many words?
5,371 is actually the number one TOS episode. Okay, we'll do it now. This is the most amount of words spoken in any original series episode by quite a large margin.
Really?
5,371 words. It's number one. It's number 40 in all of Star Trek. Like this is a very mouthy, very wordy episode.
You know what, Idol? I give you shit for your word count. I'm actually genuinely fascinated because I think that is really interesting in terms of like the construction of the episode because it is very wordy. There's a lot of talking. Like
there is.
Like the war games and the technological aspect of it is such a big part of it, but there's so much characterization that, like you mentioned, kind of feeling getting lost in it, and I disagree personally because I think there's just so much to savor. Like it's like watching an episode of Archer, where it's like you have so many punchlines right after one another, and they're all bangers, or like watching an episode of like Police Squad, and you have to like go back and rewatch it multiple times to really appreciate.
This is actually, before we hit the record button, this is the first time I'm doing this and we're on like review number 100. I went back and wrote down some of the bangers because there are so many so many good lines just on their own that I wanted to make sure they all get hit. So when there's a lull later, I'll bring up some of these. But between that and I don't want to be an asshole, but here I go. There's a scene with Bones and Kirk, and they're talking about the man after he's starting to waver a little bit. And they're talking about his genius, his accomplishments, and it's a really great scene. We'll break it down later. But I said when we were watching, this is the kind of scene that would just get cut from New Trek. And I'm really not trying to pile on, but it doesn't directly impact the plot. It doesn't directly build our main characters, Kirk and Bones. It's just a bit of expository stuff on this one episode guest star, and it was fascinating. Some of the lines like really stick with me.
Today will be brilliant.
I find them applying to my own life, and it's like this episode would objectively be worse without this little side expository scene, and I really love that it's in there. So the word count, it being number one, is noteworthy because even in something which felt to me very gripping, high stakes, a lot of shouting our lines and acting them out, and also I said there's multiple layers of threat. The M5 is killing people on the ship, it's killing people ship to ship, and so you have all this layers of action and threat, and yet throughout that is all this dialogue that's hitting all these different areas. So it's who wrote this again?
This was Lawrence.
The teleplay was
it's a
DC
combination.
Fontana.
A combination of the two. But no, sort of
it did great work.
Yeah, go back to my original point, like Kirk. Yeah, the self-reflective moments here. We see this in Wrath of Khan. We see this in Enemy Within. Moments where Kirk is sort of vulnerable, and he's a little bit mopey in this, but that's not a problem because he is being, the idea that his job is in question.
There's time for it. Yeah, there's absolutely time for it.
Yeah. And it's a great moment for him. What was the other point I was going to make, and I've completely forgotten it? Someone talk until I remember.
So yeah, like kind of dovetailing with Kirk being reflective, like I really do want to touch on the Spock and McCoy stuff because like it's so funny that like McCoy, he does exist to have medical moments. Yeah, not racist at all, not even a little bit. I don't think the word Vulcan
just
even comes into the script. Yeah, it's just like McCoy is a lot of the times he is a nice little bauble to be added to the script. He's there to provide color commentary and a foil for Kirk, and here. He's just like this wonderful counterweight. He's a personable, like, this is, I think, the ideal McCoy balance of just like being that really human voice. Like, if you want to talk about like the id, superego, and ego dynamic of these three, this is such a good epitomization of it. And I love the reminder that they are friends because I think that was something that, especially the Kelvin movies, didn't really balance as well. Was remembering that these people like each other, respect each other. On some level, love each other, and ultimately wants what's best, not just for the crew and for the human race and for the Vulcan race, but for each other as well. Like, they will absolutely have each other to the hilt. And I just really love, like, that Finagle's Folly scene is beautiful for so many reasons. Like, it calls back to the cage, it's called forward through into the Wrath of Khan. Exactly. Like, it's such a beautiful part of, like, that Trek tradition, and it feels perfectly, it fits in here. And I really do appreciate your rare, gentle Spock. I have no desire to serve under machines. And like Nimoy plays that scene with such tenderness.
The ship runs on loyalty to one man.
To one man.
That was Spock was saying a lot there, wasn't he?
I mean, if ever there's a time to say it, like it's so good.
It's interesting that Spock, because at the first you thought, oh, maybe Spock's going to side with M5, there's going to be some angle there, but he does have that and I would be really intrigued to sort of go back and look over other DC Fontana episodes, especially ones that she's adapted the teleplay to add McCoy and Spock scenes in, because she's it's bang on. It's so good. Like, it's really understanding the character from the ground up. So I know DC Fontana has done a lot, but it'll be interesting to see, like, if she's had to come in and do a rewrite or a teleplay and go like, this suddenly has a very good McCoy scene in it. Okay, there we go. We know who's responsible for that.
So I do my own little review on the side because it motivates me to exercise when I get to watch Star Trek. Yeah. So today I reviewed Alter Ego. It's the "Are you guys friends?" Tuvok says no. Kim says yes, like that meme.
Yeah.
Are you guys
And at the
friends?
beginning of the episode, Tuvok is kind of a smart aleck dick in the way that Vulcans are. And I watched real carefully. I wanted to say, all right, does he keep doing this? Does he misstep? And he doesn't. Kim is emotional, berating him. The alien of the week is putting the whole ship in peril because of Tuvok. And the guy is a fucking rock the whole way through. And I'm like, you know what? This is why I love Tim Russ. This is why I love Tuvok. If I had to pick a hero of the episode, it would be Spock, because he is so objective in this. He sees the potential in M5. He doesn't dismiss Daystrom. He's not aggressive toward him like both Bones and Kirk are, to the point of yelling in his face. But when it comes down to it, he still understands the human element. He prioritizes it in just the way that the audience wants, in a very sweet, stoic Vulcan manner. But he's not overly emotional. He's not going to let his feelings get in the way of what is right. And in this case, as is always in TOS, the human element is what's right, and he does recognize that. So he's pitch perfect in this.
Okay, Stars, I have a question for you. I don't have it for Otto because he's read the in-memory alpha page. So this is one of many times that Kirk talks a computer to death. He does it 3 other times. What other episodes does he do it in?
Oh, me and Auto played a variation on this game the other day. Okay, one of them's got to be what is it? Is it Return of the Archons?
Correct,
Is
yep.
that the
Yes.
name?
Ding!
Yep. Okay. Is another one? Oh, it's A Taste of Armageddon.
No, although I
No?
think that
No. It does involve computers, yeah.
but he doesn't talk it to
Yeah.
death.
Tallying up the death counts.
That's right, yeah.
Okay. 'Cause yeah, there's Landru, there's M5. What are other examples?
Can
Does
I
it
give
count
hints?
iMud?
iMud counts, yep.
There you go.
Ding!
Okay. And then there's one more. Okay. Fuck. This is where my TOS knowledge is
I've got a hint, but it's a big giveaway, so I might save it unless you can't really get it.
It's not Vija, is it?
It's not Vija, no. No, that's something
doesn't really
else
count.
takes Vija to death. Something else happens to Vija.
Can I get a hint?
First 13-hour Voyager.
Fuck me.
Which would make no sense to anyone outside of timelines.
It doesn't make sense to me, and I played timelines, so I don't fucking remember.
Captain Braxton.
Oh no, Roy Kirk.
Yes.
Yeah. The Nomad.
Yes,
Right?
correct. The
Nomadic
changeling.
coordinate.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's it.
there
So
we
there were
go.
3 other times. There you go. Like, so I thought it was a bit obvious a clue, but yeah.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. There we go. Timelines is long behind
You know
as well.
Overtire gives a great quote that kind of dovetails with the Spot point. To quote Spot from A Taste of Armageddon, I do not approve, I understand.
Oh, that's good. That's in my
That's
parenting
really
lexicon,
good.
that one is. Okay, how about we move on to...
Bread.
Gentlemen, what is your bread, the moment in the episode that stands out to you as being a significant memory that you will take away from this episode?
There's a whole loaf in here, man. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Can I pick 2?
You could pick one and then one later. So pick one for now.
Okay.
You can have one and then one as a
my-
treat if you've been good.
My hopefully first slice of bread
Okay.
will be Shatner's delivery on that's one of your more effective prescriptions. Like in that Finagle's Folly scene, man, I fucking love it. It's so
Yeah.
charming. My second would be Daystrom saying, "We are killing." Like Marshall's delivery on that line is just it's so like throaty and bassy and just like you can feel the wafer thin edge that he's bouncing on there, trying to keep his composure in front of these strangers while he talks to a mirror of himself. Like, I'd be fascinated to know if there's like a story that goes into what this looks like from Daystrom's perspective. Like, I just from his emotional like kind of reality, I would be fascinated. But yeah, like I'd be fascinated. Like, does this have novelization? I'd be kind of curious to know.
I'm going to have a look. But Otto, what is your bread while I'm searching memory beta?
I'll get to my bread in a second. I meant to put this at the top of the episode, so I apologize. There's a YouTuber, Rowan J. Coleman, and he does a video called William Shatner as Captain Kirk, an acting masterclass. One of the scenes he breaks down is from this episode. I've got a red alert back here, and he taps the back of his neck.
Yeah.
And his physical acting and his cadence and his delivery are all in harmony there. They're really great, so I recommend checking that out. Rowan J. Coleman. My bread is just William Marshall in general. How often do you see a 6.5-foot black man with a deep, rich bass voice on Star Trek? Well, at least in the original series. So yeah, he's magnetic. He's got great gravitas, and I appreciate that his compassion. That's what he tries to work into the machine, because he wants that to be the hallmark of. He's not replacing men for profit. He's doing it to keep them home and safe, so like you said, they don't die on some alien world. So he's just a wonderful character. But I just remember his presence and his delivery. Bread.
My bread is going to be that scene where McCoy and Kirk's gone off. He's having a bit of a sulk and sort of working things out in his head about what this means. And McCoy follows him, and they walk down the corridor. And it's a really interesting choice of shot, because usually when you do the walk and talk, cameras at the front, they're walking towards you, they're talking while they do it. In this shot, they're walking. They're walking away, and they're stopping and turning back, but they're not doing a deliberate turn back to the camera. It's a very much turning to the side and talking to each other, and then carry on the turn talk. The other thing that made this scene interesting to me, there's two things that made it interesting. One was the type of the conversation, which was McCoy talking Kirk through, the implications of what's wrong with the Daystrom, what's wrong with the M5, what gives you this itch at the back of your head, but also. It's a very good illustration of how empty the ship is, because they've ordered everyone off the ship and they're walking through empty corridors. No one is there.
I didn't catch that. That's a really good observation.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. It's a good, effective way of shooting a scene to basically enforce because they just said, all right, we just want 20 people on the ship. And you can say that and don't do anything about it, because you're pretty much shooting everything on the bridge. But if you just say to yourself, well, let's just have a scene walking through the ship, and maybe we'll tie it in, rather than just doing the obvious, showing empty corridors for 5 seconds and various sort of like wind noises and maybe a tumbleweed. Just do it that way, and then you can enforce a bit of dialogue on it as well. So I really, could you imagine?
Not the space tumbleweed. That's a poll.
A bit of space tumbleweed. I've done my research.
That feels like a lower decks joke.
Yes, I've done my research. There isn't really any books on Richard Daystrom. No one's really expanded on him, apart from the fact there is a mirror Richard Daystrom in one of the Mirror novels.
Wow.
So,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Is it a short, fat, white guy with a high voice?
Yes, no, wait, it's Steve Jobs. Okay.
The M stands for murder rather than multitronic.
Yes.
I actually did stand for that in this episode. Before we go on, I know your finger's hovering over it. Let me read a few of the quotes that we didn't get to. And if that sparks your memory on some scenes, we can touch on them. Early on, Kirk says there are certain things men must do to remain men, which I feel like should be on a plaque somewhere. Like that's a mission statement,
plaque quote, yeah.
of TOS.
There's a quote from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy with like, where men are men and women are women and small furry creatures from Alpha Centauri 3 are small furry creatures from Alpha Centauri 3. Just reminds me of that.
I do like the essentialist reminder every now and then. When they're doing the away team recommendations, Daystrom asks, why were the captain and CMO not included in the recommendation? And Scotty says, non-essential personnel.
Yeah.
And that is one of the 3 times in the episode where Kirk acts like he's hit by a torpedo when they tell him he's about to be redundant. Shortly after that, after the first War Games exercise goes well, Commodore Wesley says, our compliments to the M5 unit and regards to Captain Dunsel. And Kirk dies in that moment. He stands up straight. He turns to the turbo lift, walks through, doesn't turn around. The door's closed. He's
you could very easily do like a GTA wasted edit of that scene. Like he is just dead inside. And it comes after the Spock trying to reassure him that everything's okay. Like Spock puts all that work into bigging him back up, and then Wesley just in his face, like slaps him in the face, and you have to hope, that Wesley's a nice enough guy that he didn't mean for it to be that, but it was.
Well, It was sympathetic, I think, because he does know Jim Kirk.
Hmm.
A couple quotes from Kirk's quarters. Genius is an understatement. At the age of 24, he made the duotronic breakthrough that won him the Nobel and Z Magni prizes. In his early 20s, Jim. That's over a quarter of a century ago. Kirk asks, "Isn't that enough for one lifetime?" God, I love that line. Just the pressure as someone who achieved early and has not achieved late. The pressure is like, oh God, it's just immense on people that achieve early, like Wesley Crusher. Genius doesn't work on an assembly line basis. Did Einstein, Kazanga, or Sitara Vulcan produce new and revolutionary theories on a regular schedule? You can't simply say, "Today I will be brilliant." Another great line.
As someone who writes creatively, I can absolutely empathize with that line. I feel that you can't just force it.
Yeah, I've got an EP, musical EP I've been sitting on for ages, and I'm still waiting to write bits of it, but yeah.
My last pick, right at the end of the episode, when they're talking about why Commodore Wesley didn't blow him out of the sky, Kirk says, "I gambled on his humanity." His logical selection was compassion, and McCoy says, "Compassion, that's the one thing no machine ever had. Maybe it's the one thing that keeps the men ahead of them." So that's kind of a great bow on the episode.
Yeah, suck it, Data. All right.
Thinking like sniping a Data.
8.5. There's Idol's 8.5.
Well, let's find out. How about we do...
The best advice I can give you is to just be yourself.
You're the worst thing that ever happened to Zek. You're the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Actually, that's the second best piece of advice.
In fact, you're the worst thing that ever happened to the entire Ferengi Alliance.
No.
Just stop saying that.
One day I'm going to put an extra thing in there just to snipe it out, just to see what happens. Okay, best and worst ratings, gentlemen. I'm going to start. I'm going to say my favourite moment was when Kirk and co enter the engineering room for the first time to go and shut off M5. And, you know, he says to Scotty in this random ensign red shirt, "Go to shut it off." And they go over there and poof, laser beam comes out. Ensign is just deaded, just killed, just straight off.
Nothing left.
Nothing left. Just not even ash, just completely unalived. And Kirk's reaction is a new style of something I haven't seen from Shatner before. It's a very kind of desperate, he grabs Daystrom and he's very sort of forceful and panicked. Like, he's seen men die before. He sent men to their deaths. He's transported men into the depths of space without realizing it. He never acted like this. This is definitely a high point for me. And then he does a really cool slide across the floor when he hits that force field, which was kind of awesome. So yeah, that my...
Because it was, the camera was right in front of him, so you could tell, there was no cuts, you could tell it was not a stunt.
Yeah, and he just straight over. If it was a cut, it was a very good cut. My worst moment, I don't know. You say about Daystrom's breakdown at the end. I kind of like that. I like those sort of breaks in there. Actually, oh, here we go. This is where the mental breakdown happens because it's been his life's work. But I mean, I suppose I'll come back to my worst.
Isn't it?
It is a hard one to pick a worst one. I always feel like I'd be just needlessly picky if I was to pick a worst moment on this, and it's just me being to find a worst moment just to find one. But you guys go. Otto, you go with the best worst while I'm having a think.
I do have two worst, so actually I could wait. But my best, I said it was going to be the away team recommendation, but I've changed my mind. It's it's them in his quarters where they're talking about the assembly line basis of genius. Those lines resonate with me personally. Isn't that enough for one lifetime? Like, just the incredible outward pressure of everybody, including probably his family and his friends. You know, he probably meets up at some steakhouse with his college buddies, and they probably give him grief that it's been 25 years since he's done anything, and it's just got to destroy him. So I do like that scene. I like that it's just a little expository nothing about a guy who we'll never see again in Star Trek. And it's pitch perfect.
His friends, you know, Noonien Soong.
Yes.
Surprised they haven't done it yet.
Is right before they drag him off. They've attacked and destroyed a Federation vessel. Kirk says the M5 must be destroyed, and he snaps. "Destroyed, Kirk? No! we're invincible. Look what we've done. And then he gives, to me, the worst line of the episode. Your mighty starships, 4 toys to be crushed as we choose. What?
Yeah.
The whole point was, the reason why he poured himself into the engrams was because he understood compassion that no other machine could. At the end of the day, no matter what happens, the human compassion must be the critical prime element driving AI forward. And I didn't want... Because at this point, he is kind of our hero. I mean, he's not our hero of the episode. He's kind of my hero of the episode. You destroyed this man. He didn't destroy himself. Your dialogue destroyed him. Toys to be crushed? No, he understands the human spirit, the human element, and you took that away from him right at the end. And I hated that. So that's my worst.
Stars?
There's a lot to choose from on best. I think I might have to just go with like the Captain Dunsel line and all that scene before and after it. Because it's so elegantly played by everyone involved, just like Spock's soft kindness, Daystrom's ego, understandable. It's quite an achievement. The way Shatner plays it, the way he doesn't fucking say a word, he just goes upright like he's been snapped on the fucking chin. He just turns around and walks away. Uhura looks at him, Scotty looks at him, everyone gets it, and just McCoy's asking, "What's a Dunsel? I don't get it. What are you talking about?" And Spock just has to, and it's Spock being awkward. You don't see that often in TOS. That's how deep his bond is with Kirk. He's like, Doctor, it refers to a useless part of a ship. Just perfectly pitched, just wonderful. Like, it's a little bit over, like, by modern standards, it's overplayed, but it suits the sheer depth of emotion that scene calls for. If I have to go for my worst, I also have to go for a way in which I think the episode fails Daystrom. It was like the little musical cues when he's like starting to break down, like they play it like he's the executioner in what is it, that episode, like the Lunatic Asylum episode. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Like they play it like he's like some kind of psychotic, and it's like it's genuinely not that. I have so much sympathy for Daystrom in that moment, and the music is just not in tune with it. It plays it like he's about to start grabbing a wrench and killing people, and it's like you say, that is just not in Daystrom's character. It fails him in that moment, and it also dovetails on the fact that he just disappears after he has the breakdown. He doesn't get like a redemptive moment. I would desperately have wished to have given him a redemptive moment where it's like, no, he will come back from this. And you kind of get that from the expanded universe, because you do get the Daystrom Institute, which you wouldn't name it after a guy who was only associated with a massacre, you would hope, in Starfleet anyway. And so you kind of hope that he came back from this and that he was remembered with fondness and kindness. And
they did have an Elon Musk high school, so...
That was written before we knew what a complete cockwomble he was, so, you know. That was 2017, I give them a pass on that, they didn't know. Guess what, he was in Iron Man too, like, we're going to also, like, you know...
I like Iron Man too. Anyway.
There's a lot of that going around. Yeah, it's a good movie. Okay. But yeah, I feel like the episode does fail Daystrom in fairly critical moments, but I have to applaud them for otherwise nailing the character.
I think I found my worst moment.
The only reason those failings bother us stars is because they made him so good before that.
Exactly, yeah.
In the remaster, they didn't replace Commodore Wesley with Anson Mount because they had the exact same hair. I think that's
God,
the only...
actually, if you want to do a fan edit, I would pay for that.
But no, I think I probably agree with your quibbles on this one. How about this one's especially for you, Stars?
Well, if that's the best they could do, this should last about 5 minutes.
5 minutes. We will retrace our steps and figure out what's going on.
You've got 5 minutes. Do it.
Do it.
If only we could hear those triggers. Then
can you not hear them? Oh, sorry.
No, we can't hear them. That's like the full trigger we want them to hear.
It doesn't matter.
You gotta tell me these things.
It's more fun. To
I have so many buttons.
Drag on you for it.
I have so many
It's
audio
fun to watch
routing
you flail.
Anyway, you've got
Yeah,
5
so
minutes.
last 5
Do
minutes.
it. What's your last 5
Do
minutes?
it.
I see.
Instead of having Daystrom be like you're sedated at the end there, I feel like that was such a weird thing. He was not being violent. He was a little bit like, I guess the word would be histrionic or overwhelmed. He was not being violent. I don't think he kind of hysterical would be the word of the 60s. If he was a woman, that's absolutely the word they would have used.
Yeah, and then they'd slap him twice.
Exactly. I would have him be cognizant, just kind of like sitting on the bio bed, kind of hunched over, and he would be apologetic about the lives lost. And I feel like Kirk would find it within him to be sympathetic, and sort of say, M6 maybe, we don't all peak as high as you, Doctor. Some men go their entire lives without achieving as much as you have achieved. Don't let this be the end of a brilliant career. Like, I would want a redemptive moment for that character. I would want a way out for him that justifies the rest of the episode's faith in him, in its positioning of this character. I don't know. I have a thing for the archetype of the genius who is misunderstood and disliked by his peers and unappreciated. So like Daystrom kind of hits a lot of those like favorite trope angles for me. But I would love that for him. I feel like that'd be way more in tune with what the episode wants you to think about Daystrom. That's my last 5 minutes.
Awesome. Otto, would you like to come up with the hypothetical last 5 minutes, or shall we move on?
I sure would.
Awesome.
The machine is out of control. They can't reason with it from the bridge. But Scotty says, I could go down there and unhook it at the source. But they say, wait, all the power that they've been shutting off on those lower decks, there's no atmosphere. You'd have to traverse 10 decks to get down there. No one would make it. And while they're arguing about whether or not someone's going to be sent down there, they notice, where did Daystrom go? Spock gets on his little instruments. He's in the turbo lift. He's going down to deck whatever, and they cut to him, and he's gasping for air, and he crawls over, and he managed to unplug the machine, and he doesn't die, because I don't want to see him die. He could sacrifice himself, and it'd be a great noble sacrifice. He passes out, power is restored, and when he wakes up in sick bay, Kirk realizes, the machine may have made a mistake, but the man corrected it, and they can bond over that. He can get his redemption. And he still has to deal with the fact that on his conscience people died, but that way he's the one that corrects the mistake rather than him being the mistake.
I love that.
So
do you have 5 minutes?
I have 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. You know me. Daystrom, very similar.
8.5.
A very similar. Daystrom goes down to deal with the M5 computer, but in Vija style, he becomes one with the machine and becomes Daystraw and destroys everyone and leaves. Okay.
Better than I was expecting from you.
I am Daystraw. Feed me starships. Okay, all right. Let's have those rating goes, gentlemen.
So if we're talking about funny moments that should have happened, I really do feel like if this was a goofier episode or even just like a fan edit, when that ensign gets it, like when they get vaporized, there should have been a pair of shoes left behind.
Smoke coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of drill is it, sir? It's a Black & Decker drill. It's a Makita. Not in this sector. Okay.
I can show you my rating code.
Schiller rating 3.5.
Associational rating norm -3.
That's much too low a rating.
I'm just not accustomed to seeing an unsatisfactory rating on a member of my crew.
Are we going to see an unsatisfactory rating amongst a member of this prestigious episode counts? Stars, this is your pick. What are you shilling us today?
You know what? One of these days we're going to get to the episode where the Schiller rating comes from, and I'm going to make the Schiller rating Schiller rating.
Yeah.
How many Schiller ratings out of 10?
Is that a real thing, a Schiller rating? Is that named after someone? Is that like the David Schiller rating?
I think it's
David
from
Schwimmer.
Shore Leave, which we've already reviewed.
So, I mischecked there then.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, in which case I have to.
Wait,
I
what
have
did
to
we
up
give
my
Shore
game
Leave?
here.
You say Shore Leave?
What did we give? I think it was Shore Leave, right?
Oh, pliable
You can
paper
show
mache
this.
jousting dummies. Okay, never mind. Carry on.
That's a,
That's a pretty good one.
replace it. Gentlemen, how many Dunsels, Z Magnes prizes, and Finagle's Follies, out
Oh
of
my
10
gosh.
would you like to give this
See,
episode?
Hang on. Dunsel's Z Magni prizes, and what was the other one? Finagle's.
Finagle's Follies, oh my.
Finagle's Follies. Oh my.
I'm gonna butt in here and do something just awful. My second memory alpha pull of the episode. The evocative music by George Dunning, composed for Metamorphosis, was reused when Kirk romanticizes
Oh, really?
about sailing on a tall ship. So I called it out when we were watching. I said, you know,
Oh, I
have a
remember it.
listen
Yeah, it's
here.
beautiful.
It is beautiful. Metamorphosis was my draft pick. I'd like to collude with you, stars, since we're benefiting here from each other's episodes. I will rate
hang
this
on a minute.
I will rate this 0.1 higher if you rate Metamorphosis 0.1 higher.
Point
Do
one's
we have a
nothing.
deal?
That's fine.
I will agree with that. You hold me to that because I may
We'll
not
shake
remember
on
this
that.
deal, but whatever I rate it, I will happily
All right.
bump it up a notch. I'll happily do that.
Otto did say, because it's my birthday on Friday, Otto did say he would bump up the motion picture up to a 10 for the day. And then lower it again.
For the day, I'm not giving them more than 24 hours. Dude, I'm gonna get my phone's gonna blow up with notifications at midnight. He's gonna be like, all right, it's 12. I want you to change
Where's my
it in the
present?
spreadsheet."
Maze 4 says the episode probably gave thought to the people who made the Ralph Khan. Absolutely, because I think it was Nicholas Meyer. He absolutely watched every episode of TOS, and I bet it was this and Space Seed that were primary in his thinking.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Absolutely,
It's a good mix of the two, really. Yeah, you could kind of mash them together and make the Wrath of Khan. You got a stew.
Yeah.
All right, Stars. What is your
stew,
Schiller rating? How many Z Magni prizes out of how for Nate? Well, yeah, the rest go on.
I want to give this a 10. I want to give this a 10. I think it is absolutely incredible, and it's my draft pick. What was my pre-rating? Was it 9
I
point?
think you said 9
We
points.
both
You
give
both
it a 9.6.
Yeah, I think we all said that. Oh no, I did 9.5.
I think this is just shy of perfection. I think it is better than my pre-rating. Gentlemen, I'm gonna have to give this 9.9
Ooh.
Dunsel's, Z Magnes prizes, and Finagle's Follies. Oh my, out of 10. I think this is so shy of perfection. I think that this is as close as TOS ever gets to me to being absolutely perfect. If every episode of TOS was like this, it would be my favorite series of Star Trek. It is incredible. It only really fumbles on the last bits of the Daystrom bits. If the Daystrom bits were written like we've kind of suggested with the last 5 minutes, this would be a 10 easy, probably even higher. I think this is a triumph. Incredible. Beautiful. I love it.
Interesting. 0.1 for a technicality. You're like that judge at the dance competition. Everyone boos.
It's like feeling the difference between warp 5 and warp 5.1 on the
Yes,
the
exactly.
deck plates.
Exactly.
You can just know.
So you're feeling it.
just know
Okay. Also,
I'm giving this 9.7 Dunsels, Z Magnes, and Finnagle Follies. Oh my, bumped up to 9.8 because of our agreement.
Oh, yes.
Maybe a hot take. I don't think TOS has any 10 out of 10s. And they have a lot of 9 point somethings, but nothing really ever hit me as perfect. There's a few that I really like on an emotional level love, but they're obviously have other failings. Not only, did they let Daystrom down in just a sad way at the end. Also, and then after they dismiss him, take him off to the loony ward, Kirk, yet again, as we said, just yaps the computer to death, which was just a lame finish for this. And I know why they do it, because he's the hero. I felt like the lowest part of the episode, not necessarily pacing wise, but just my investment was when he started talking to the computer. I'm like, all right, we've seen this before. He'll probably do it again after this, and it just didn't do anything for me. So if Daystrom was the one to correct his error, I think that would kind of satisfy both birds with one stone. So 9.7 bumped up to 9.8. All sorts of Z Magnies all over the place. Really great episode.
You'll be very surprised. No, I'm not going to give this an 8.5. Fuck you guys. I think I said a 9.5. I think I'm going to stick to a 9.5. I'm trying to quantify what stops it being a 10 for me. Because although you say, like, you don't think any TOS episode is a 10, I feel like you can't...
Just personally.
Yeah. No, I feel like in my mind when I'm rating these, like, I don't compare TOS to TNG or TNG to, like, Discovery or something. I feel like you can't... The ratings we have are not comparable between each series, even though we are rating it like that. It sort of exists in a different mind, but I'm going to go for a 9.5. You are right at the end. That reminded me. I think I was higher before you said about the conclusion of Kirk just talking the computer to death very quickly as well, and it's very just like, so you killed someone, yes. You know what's the punishment? Killing, death. You're going to go kill yourself? Okay. That was kind of it, really.
Also, sorry to butt in, if you're going to do that trope, do it to an emotionless computer that doesn't have the essence of
Daystrom,
of the Doctor inside them. Do it to some cold, hard logic thing that you want to destroy.
You had 5,371 words. You could have taken maybe Chekhov biting his knuckles out for this.
600 minutes.
Yeah, get out of there, Anthony Rapp. So yeah, 9.5 Dunsels, Z Magni prizes and Finagle follies. Oh my.
Cheater.
I know. Well,
I saw you glancing at the
privileges. Privileges of running the spreadsheet. Which, unsurprisingly, is take this to a massive average of 9.7, that's up there. Let's have a look and see where it goes. It's the same as we rated Terrarium, although we were a bit rushed on the season 3 ratings. Same, it's not as good as the Magnificent Ferengi. We thought that was a better episode. Night was...
can't believe they got 3 10s. It's fun, but it's not. Come on.
No, it's not 9.8. But yeah. Latent Image 9.6. The Perfect Mate, which we recently did, 9.6 as well. Charades 9.5. So yeah, it's upper echelons. It is now our
good company.
Number 6 best episode. Yeah, we're up.
I just realized we're basically Star Trek Timelines, releasing top Voyagers and knocking all the other ones down.
You got a later losers category and everything. But yeah, no, thanks everyone. Do you know what I haven't done enough of? I haven't pressed this button.
So young.
And that was
the button that does nothing. I can't hear.
Oh, of course you fucking can't. Sorry, hang on, let's try that again. Try this one.
No.
There we go. The random button. I need to
Idols.
I need to press this.
Idols 1 through 4, not entirely successful.
Oh, Christ. You son of a bitch. Got rid of the trigger. Oh, that's right. I forgot I had voice triggers. I should turn that back on sometime. Maybe we'll do that for our next award
God.
show.
Do that for an episode we don't care about.
Do it for a Frank pick.
Yeah, we'll do that for that.
Yeah.
I'll tune it into the action terminal screen. Okay, we'll probably be back next week. Keep an eye on the schedules and stuff. Nothing this weekend because I'm partying because it's my birthday. It's my party and I can call it too.
How old are you turning?
I'm going 27. Thanks for noticing. No, I should be reaching the ripe age.
Moisturizes.
Ripe old age of 41, as my children like to remind me. And the saying that there aren't enough candles to go on my cake because Mum hasn't made it big enough. Thanks, children. Anyway, we'll see you next time. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel and the Discord for an event update to see when our next stream is. But in the meantime, live long and prosper. And I'm going to press the right button this time. Ta-ra!
It's all set.
What's all set?
I got Hooker lined up with a dude who's going to give him the deal of a lifetime in a new Porsche.
A Porsche?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe you should wait. You might get a better deal through the state.
Yeah?
Yeah, we just did some story on a guy who's selling stolen Porsches off a lot on Main. Real sleazy character.
What's his name?
Delvin, Kelvin,
Melvin?
Alvin.